it's going to be classified in the horror genre, but it is so much more than your stereotypical horror film. There's drama, there's comedy, there's dark comedy, there's suspense, there's thriller. It's why the vampires, it's why the devil, it's why the decisions, it's why are these things happening. That's the story.
Welcome to the Untitled Film Project Podcast. It's sinners this time. Two brothers returned from Chicago to open up a juke joint in the 1930s. And guess who also comes to town? The devil comes to the Delta in the form of vampires.
There are legends of people with the gift of making music so true. It can conjure spirits from the past and the future. This gift can bring fame and fortune.
Will somebody take me in your eyes?
But it also can pierce the veil between life and death.
We have a big question we're going to talk about as well at the end of the episode.
That big question today is, as I scroll down, who is your consistent director-actor team-up? I'm not going to give you any examples because I'm afraid to give them away. But what director and actor have worked together so much that you really look forward to their projects together?
All right. Who wants to kick things off?
Me.
Justin.
This is my favorite movie of the year so far.
Whoo!
Wow, big words.
Big words.
Yeah.
And how often does that get said about something that's considered horror?
Not with you.
Not with me.
No.
This movie's incredible.
And we're in April. So, I mean, it's there's been plenty of time for some movies to come out.
And it's going to take a lot to beat it
Okay.
for me right now.
Oh, so it's like
King of the
far
Mountain.
and away.
Yes. And it's because of multiple elements, right? Like, as we all talk about movies, like what makes a good film, there's so many elements of this film that make it good. Like, it's not just good acting. It's not just good lighting. It's not just good story. It's not just intriguing. There's layers to this film.
Yeah.
And that's why I enjoyed it so much, because Ryan Coogler is a genius. He is a genius.
He is
filmmaker.
working his way up with a resume that is becoming more and more impressive every time a movie hits the screen.
He's incredible and thought-provoking. The music, his partnership with Ludwig Göransson is amazing. So for me, there's so much about this movie that I cannot wait to discuss further with you guys. But I say it's my favorite so far because of every single element in this film, to the point of you need to go watch this in large format. If it is anywhere within an hour drive of you, you have to go see it in large format. IMAX preferred, because that's the preferred method that Ryan Coogler described. But you're going to be fine in Dolby. You're going to be fine in anything that's large format as well. But the most important part of that is with especially sound design. Large format theaters and the sound design. It's not just the crispness of the screen. It's how the speakers are programmed to put you in a movie, to fully immerse you in it, to where you're actually looking around. We've talked about other films that do this, right? Where you feel immersed in it, and that's what makes you jump during a jump scare. That's what makes you feel like you're in it with the music or with just the tiny things of the insects in the night. This movie accomplishes all these different methods of great filmmaking. And if you haven't had a chance yet, Warner Brothers put out this incredible piece with Ryan Coogler talking about the process of film, types of film, why he films in certain ways, this film in general, and how you should go experience it as well. It's full nerd talk.
I nerd out on that stuff, but I love it.
Everyone will appreciate it.
I love it.
But if you enjoy film and the process you want to hear from a director, you have to go and see this. Go over, link to it. I'm pointing in both directions.
It's over here.
Link to it, because I promise you're going to learn something from it. And especially when you hear a director nerding out that much, it makes you appreciate the works that he puts out, because you see the passion behind filmmaking. And when you can appreciate a director's work, right, then even maybe if the film isn't as good, you can understand his process. And that's what it's all about. It's art. So this movie is art, and it's horror. But my goodness, it doesn't feel like horror to me, because there's so much depth to it. This is not your just top level horror, scary film, which so many are, and those are totally fine. This film has so much depth.
Yeah, this is a prestige period piece that also includes vampires.
Yes.
You know, and I will agree that there is no weak link in this movie. There's not a weak link in the cast. Cinematography, outstanding. The score is amazing. The direction, the editing, lighting of this movie, it's beautiful to look at. It's beautiful to listen to. And this is a movie that will haunt you in all the best ways for a long time after you see it. I just saw it within the last hour and a half, and I'm still kind of reeling and processing. But it's the kind of movie that, like, it's just a feast of excellent, pieces.
There's a feast.
Sink your teeth into that. Go over.
The second half is elite filmmaking. I wrote about this on the Untitled Film Project Pod.com in my written review, my spoiler-free review. So we're going to get into spoilers here, I'm sure, at some point. Spoiler-free review, head to the website. The second half is so great, but it brings me to, I'll get into it now. It brings me to my only critique, and I use that very loosely. This is an excellent movie. I just call it elite filmmaking.
Love how he's setting it up at least, because he already saw me look at it.
No, it's awesome. Okay. But, and again, my words are written down. I can't change it. So the first half of the movie, it kind of plays out like a period piece dark comedy. Almost.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. A little bit of drama, obviously, but basically it's witty and
setting up the world.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, elite character development.
Yep.
Okay. But the second half is what this movie really is, which is a horror movie about vampires. Okay. In an outside the box vampire way, which I really appreciated that as well. It's a new take. It's not the same old stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So on the way home, I was reeling from the second half of the film, right? I was like, this is unbelievable. Can't wait to talk to the guys about this. Can't wait to talk to you about this. But then I was like, the first half, it's not a waste of time by any means. But it's like, why did we waste all that? There's not waste. That's first,
a bad word.
I know. The first half is, it's like, it's a totally different movie.
I will, yeah, I'll agree.
And the meat, the zest, the luster is on the second half. So why did we wait that long to get to that? That's what I'm asking.
Because it builds tension.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's half the film. It's not.
And you did say world building, which I think it does an excellent job.
Yes.
Building a world that we're kind of familiar with from history as well.
Character development, the relationships between the brothers, both played by Michael B. Jordan. But it does go on for quite a while without incorporating parts of the second half of the movie into the first as much as I would have hoped.
Okay, because there's plenty of foreshadowing and teasing.
There's a hard left turn.
Yeah, there is, and you're waiting for it.
And that,
no, I wouldn't say that.
Waiting for it because you know it's coming.
No, I wouldn't say that either.
I know there's something coming if you watch the first 15 seconds of the movie.
No, okay, fine, but I'm saying like it's. I don't know how else to describe it.
Okay.
It's two different films meshed into one that are all excellent.
Okay, my rebuttal to you.
I enjoyed the first half immensely.
Okay.
But when it got to the second half and it was like, oh, now we're cooking. Now I see what this movie is.
All right.
It just makes you think, oh, well, what was that? That's all I'm saying.
It's building tension.
Okay.
It's building tension because what did you say when we walked out of the theater?
I can't wait to talk to you guys about it.
Well, no, with your jaw.
What?
Your jaw. The back of your teeth were sore.
Yeah, my back of my teeth were sore because there was so much tension. My tongue was pressed against the back of my teeth for probably an hour and a half.
Which is the second half of the movie for you.
That's right.
Okay, but for me, it's building tension because it's setting up. There's a creepy factor to so much of it. The music helps set that up. Right, there's so much that they're leaning into of what's happening, and I appreciate the building. And I'm not attacking you, because I know this is very minor for you overall.
Yes,
very minor.
Because again, I did enjoy the first.
But
half.
I liked that. I liked that build up for it because it's not even a slow burn for me. Is I wanted to get to know these characters because then there's stakes at the end of who's going to survive, who's going to make it through. You're building some stakes, and then some people, if they die quickly, like. They're gone.
Okay. So let me ask you this then. Could you not have done that in a shorter window? No. That's all I'm saying.
No.
I disagree with that.
No, not too much shorter because the film didn't feel long to me.
I think before it it made that hard left turn, skosh too long. But I'm nitpicking.
Okay,
and that is totally
All right.
Yes.
All right. So this is like getting the greatest steak dinner at the best steakhouse in the world. And
Like, would you pay 149 or 154?
yeah, maybe the potato wasn't,
wasn't creamy enough. Yeah.
just in one part. So like that's kind of the fun is you can say like, oh my God, this was amazing. But there was this little thing. And there's something very satisfying about that. I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
Psychologically.
You guys are weird.
I'm just telling you what I felt like on the way home.
No, and your feelings are valid.
Oh, thank you.
Your feelings
I
are
appreciate the
very
validation.
valid. I'm saying that I liked it. I
loved it.
No, I enjoyed the
you
slowness of that as well too, because the way that Coogler did it and the art form behind it, with you mix. One thing that really stood out is even with both parts, right before the hard left, there was a bit of comedy whenever you had something serious to make you go.
Yeah, there
catch your breath.
Yeah.
Very, very well timed. So even if there was a slow moment, there was a time when there was laughter out loud in the whole theater, even during the first half, which was on purpose because it's, again, setting you up for when it gets to horror time for everyone. So,
and credit to Cornbread and Delta Slim for being just like that great amount of, interesting character, comic, dry. I mean, it feels good.
Yeah.
And then lets you, okay, now I can get back to the powerful stuff. If our initial takes were any indication, we've got a lot to talk about. Let's get very specific about Sinners. Something that you just are bursting to tell everybody. Go over.
Every single performance was incredible. There was not a weak link in this movie. Everybody was awesome. Everybody held their own, and it was like the 27 Yankees.
And they worked together well too. Like the chemistry on screen worked together so well. That, like to add on to that, no weak links because they meshed together so well. Every character interacted perfectly, and that's what made you. That's why I appreciate the character building. Not to take it back, but that's why I appreciated the beginning of it because you're building the relationships as well.
I got to give it up to Jack O'Connell as Remick. Sometimes we forget that vampires have charm, sometimes it's taken to silly levels, but I loved his portrayal of Remick. I loved that he used racism and wanting to belong as a lure, an evil lure to try to get them to join them. And, and then you're also getting like a little bit of, you're going to lose part of your culture. I mean, is what you're getting, but we're all going to be in this together. We're all equals. And it was like such a great take on an evil form of persuasion that I loved Jack O'Connell in this movie.
And to build off of that, what Ryan Coogler does so well in his films is the way he puts Black culture into film and onto the screen, to where you're experiencing it through music, through personal interactions that the characters have, through the time that this is taking place, to everything. There's so many nods to Black culture that Ryan Coogler puts in his films that it helps educate and inform and also just makes you appreciate as well. The big thing for this is music.
Oh,
right.
Music
is a central piece.
It's a major character.
Like it is a character. And it's not just music in relation to Black culture, but it's also how there's different influences that music has had on Black culture as well, too. And you even have the Irish music that comes in there. There's connections between Irish and African music.
And it works.
As well, and it works so well. And that you have infusion of jazz and rock and roll, classic rock and roll, and folk and bluegrass, everything just coming into one.
Hip-hop makes an appearance.
And how it's meshing into the spirituality of the film and how music connects different ages as well, different souls. And I overheard someone as we're leaving the theater saying, we didn't really need that whole dance scene. I'm like, no, we did need it. That was imperative. You need that scene because you're talking about they're talking about what attracts the devil as well too. That's one of the main themes too. Is like this music is attracting the devil. All this, the layers that we talked about at the beginning, right? And music is a huge chunk of those layers, and how those genres just all connect together because of the influences of other cultures on music and how it brings everybody together. That was an imperative scene to me, and it was wonderfully and beautifully shot.
The biggest scene of the movie,
absolutely,
for me, without a doubt. And what I loved about it, too, is I think you can draw parallels between the immortality of vampires and kind of the immortality of the music. And it, like, you know, so you can go way back to Irish folk and then you can come to blues and all these different things. And during that amazing scene where we got all these styles of music, and it's hypnotic, right? And I did kind of go like a little bit of a record scratch when hip hop like makes an appearance there, and I'm thinking, well, that sticks out like a sore throat. But then, like as you go along, I'm like, no, I get it. Okay, I get it. Okay, this is timeless. This is not like only up to a certain period in the 30s. This is showing that, like, yes, the time goes on and doesn't really matter in the vampire world, and can sometimes take you out of time when you're pulsating to the music and taken away by it. So to me, that was just like, that was the master filmmaking piece of this movie. Let's talk about Michael B. Jordan's performance. Gover, to me, I think that you, of all people, were probably expecting, he's playing two parts. This isn't going to work. This is good. We're going to see some body double, and it's going to ruin it. Were any of those thoughts going through your head? Because that's what I imagine you were fearing.
Yes. But the one of the master strokes of this movie, though, was within, I think, after a hug early on, when they picked up the truck and then they were splitting up, and then there was a hug, like, you be safe and blah, blah, blah. I bought in before that, but that was the kind of linchpin that I needed, because I was thinking like, okay, he's going to hug himself. This is going to be a body double, or it's going to be some sort of stand-in, or it's going to be what. And I didn't even
cut.
And my brain didn't even notice it. And right then I was like, I'm hooked. I'm in. These are two different characters. Yeah. And that was wonderful.
Bradford, his performance, did you see the nuances that he gave to make Smoke and Stack different characters?
Especially when you see the interactions between the two love interests. Like, that's when it really stands out in terms of how they interact, in terms of one being a protector, one is dealing with PTSD of losing a child. I mean, that's when you really have the character development, and that's where it's the challenge for an actor.
Yes.
You know, we don't know the order that things were filmed. But that's the challenge there of like, okay, I have to channel this energy because of this, and I care about her. That's why I don't want her to be here, because I know I'm not a good guy. And the other one of like, I've lost a child. I'm going back to visit.
She reminds me of that child.
Reminds me of the child, so I can't be near her, but I still love her so much. Like, those are two completely different ways someone has to act when they're in love. Two very different sides of the spectrum. So that's what made me appreciate the performance from Michael B. Jordan, is you see his interaction with the two lovers, or love interests.
Yeah, that's a great distinction. And you could also see it in the way that they deal with the situations before them, where like Smokes, he's all business, right? He's like, okay, no deals for anybody. We are playing this straight down the middle. He's a little more cutthroat, whereas Stack's like a little more freewheeling. You know, he's willing to cut some people a little bit of slack. They're both difficult people to contend with if you're on the wrong side of them. But, you know, Michael B. Jordan he just quietly out there creates these wonderful performances. And here he does too. Give him 2 Oscars. All right, it's time to score Sinners. Let's start with Jeremy K. Gover.
Bradford called it his favorite movie of the year so far. And he also said that it's on a mountaintop summit and it's going to be hard to beat. I will say that I liked Bob Trevino Likes It more. Barely. Those are my 2 best movies of the year. Bob Trevino Likes It and Sinners, and I have to give Sinners an 8.0. I thought it was tremendous, but I still am wrestling with why was the first half so much different than the second half when the second half is what the movie is. So for me, performances were awesome. Directing was top notch. Music, I mean, come on, was just incredible, right? All those things, beautiful to look at, like Jim said. But at the end of the day, there was such a sharp left turn that my brain couldn't quite handle it. I was wondering why this first part was the way it was. Again, I loved the first part. If it's a standalone movie and maybe there's like a different ending right there, it's probably, also an 8 just by itself.
It could have kept going and never made that turn.
That's right.
And still been a good movie.
Still been phenomenal. That's right.
Yeah.
But the second half was elite filmmaking. The issue with me lies in the fact that it was such a sharp left turn. I didn't know why the first part was so necessary as it played out. So that's my score, 8.0.
Of course.
Bradford, what are you going to score this thing? Trust me, I'm wavering.
But he disappoints me.
Okay. I thought you were wavering on your score.
No.
I'm still settling on mine.
Well, you
yeah,
saw it
so
2
fresh.
hours ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so
I'll call back to the check boxes, and Gover does this too. The check boxes, the things that you're looking for in a good film.
Actually, I have a checkbox of what to mess up, actually. It's the opposite. Just saying.
So I'm sitting next to him in the screener, and I'm always curious because he does bring a notebook to keep his thoughts, and I commend him for that. I can't do that. Whenever he does the thing like a psychiatrist does and starts writing down things, when he sees certain things, like, what is this writing down now? Like, nothing just happened on screen that I would think would create a note. What is he writing down? Did it just hit him from something 15 minutes ago? So I'm just always curious on what he's writing down, because all of his notes, and especially when it's dark in the theater too, I'm like, can you read that chicken scratch?
Barely. But it's just...
Can you read a note from Sinners that's in your notebook?
Yeah, I can read one. Let's see. Hold on. My glasses.
Oh, let me get his glasses on.
Let's see here. There were 3 birds/vultures around each death scene.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
There's
Okay.
one note from Sinners.
okay.
So that's when he took his notebook out and just little scribbles.
Because I noticed it and I was like, I'm going to forget this if I don't write it down.
No, it's
if you
great.
didn't put it in his handy dandy notebook.
You didn't mention it until just now.
Thanks,
because I asked
Steve.
you. No, I'm looking at a lot of things here, and as I'm just taking this movie in, first of all, let me start with, I was hyped about the movie because I was curious because of Ryan Coogler in the cast. I didn't know it was going to be this good to me until I experienced it. Okay, I wasn't going in knowing it was good. We've heard there's a lot of hype coming into our screener, right? There's plenty of people talking about it, and lots of people giving it rave reviews.
But we've been burned before.
Yeah, but
One way or the other.
right. I didn't know. I was just very excited to see it because of all these different things. But as I'm going through the movie, it is continuing to check so many boxes because I can see Coogler's mind and how he's putting everything together. And that's where we talk about all these things, right? And you start off with the lighting. How many movies are just dark nowadays and hard to see? He uses lighting and shadow and so much throughout this film to set the scene so perfectly well. And the lighting helps build the characters as well, too. How they're lit, how these scenes are lit accomplishes that. Sound design, holy moly, so good. And there's just reasons, again, why you have to see this in a large format type of theater, because you can appreciate the sound design to where you're actually looking around like, are there people whispering? No, it's the room we're in. We're in the room in this movie. We were outside hearing the crickets chirp. We were outside hearing the frogs. We're here. We're in this. And especially when you add to the sound design, the music. But that's how important of a role that music plays in this film. Okay, check's another one. Acting, performances, everything. Incredible. We see Haley Steinfeld in a way that we've definitely never seen her before.
I love
in a
the
film.
stretch of a new character for her. It was great.
And this film is built so well that it has multiple layers, like a parfait or an onion. and it's seductive, it's sexy, it's dark, it's creepy, it's informative, There's so many descriptive words on this because that's what Coogler has accomplished in this film, because it made me think and continue to think, because those layers, that it's not just a vampire film. It's going to be classified in the horror genre, but it is so much more than your stereotypical horror film. There's drama, there's comedy, there's dark comedy, there's suspense, there's thriller. It encapsulates so much that it's hard to put it within just horror because it's a vampire movie, because vampire really isn't necessarily the central theme of it. That they're part of this, but it's why the vampires, it's why the devil, it's why the decisions, it's why are these things happening. That's the story. It's not about the vampires. They're just the vehicle to tell the story.
Yep.
And that's why I enjoyed it so much, because as we know, I'm not necessarily a horror guy, but I've learned to appreciate more horror pieces. But it's not a horror film by any means, because it's this typical stereotypical drama where you saw a trailer for Megan beforehand, and then you have this. Megan's going to be a fun horror film, sure. It could be awful, but it'll be fun. This is not meant to be fun. This is meant to tell a story. And Ryan Coogler tells a story, and that's why I loved it so much, and that's why it gets a 9.5.
All right. I feel this movie is so rich, that at every level, it's just a joy to watch. It's beautiful to look at. It's great to hear performances move you. I just, as I was sitting in the theater and getting up to leave, I was at an 8.5. And I got to say that mostly was because of the hard left turn that this movie took. But then as I, drive away and then eventually find myself here, I'm going over like, oh, okay, wait, this is even more. The movie it just has so much more. I think you're going to probably, if you go to see it more than once, you're going to get so much more the second time. And it's not like you feel like you needed that after the first time. It's just one of those, you're just peeling back things that maybe you just didn't see on the first viewing because it's so rich. I really enjoyed this movie. It's a feast of movie making. Ryan Coogler, again, keeps establishing himself with really great films, working with the best people around him. I bumped this movie up to a 9.0.
Why wasn't this a Halloween movie, guys? Just out of curiosity. Like,
didn't need to be.
No. I know it didn't need to be. What I'm saying, a movie like this stands on its own. I'm just saying we don't usually get this quality of filmmaking in April. And with the way this is, if you put this out on September 15th, it rides through November.
Death of a Unicorn should be Halloween because it's fun. People need more fun for Halloween.
Okay.
This is not meant to be. This is meant to be more blockbuster style. So
it's summer then.
But I think this kind of interesting because you see what's overtime in summer. They're being strategic with this.
Yeah. I think they found a convenient valley,
little window
in the window of release
of Marvel and stuff like that.
Sure, and
Mission Impossible.
Yeah,
exactly. There's a reason.
Wicked, and there's so much going on later in the year. I think it's dropped probably at the right time.
It didn't need to be Halloween. There's no element of Halloween movies tend to be more that you're going to be scared.
Yes.
Here you're going to experience.
Now that we've scored Sinners, it's time to answer the big question. We encourage you to let us know in the comments or hit us up through social media what you think is the best answer to this question. Goer.
Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan. They have been known to work together, we'll say. So that brought us to the big question this week, which is, who is your favorite consistent director-actor team-up? Again, no examples going to be given because I'm afraid to take somebody's away. Jim, we'll start with you.
All right, I'm going to give you guys a choice. Do you want my art house pick or do you want my blockbuster pick?
Art house.
Okay, it's going to be director Richard Linklater and Ethan Hawke. Okay, these guys have worked together so often. He has worked with Ethan Hawke at every stage of his career and every age. And I say age because, he's worked with him in early films. You have the, indie house romance films of Before Sunset, Before Sunrise, they're amazing movies. And there's this like thread through those films. And then you have About a Boy, in which, I mean, they filmed this movie over the course of like, I'm forgetting now, it's like at least a decade, right? They film it when the kid is small, and then they went back and filmed the movie over like 10 years as the boy grows up. And you get a movie that like they put that long of an effort together and are able to me, they are each other's muse, and they bring out the best in each other. And I think definitely if you asked either one of them who's their favorite person to work with, they obviously say the other.
That's a solid answer. I'll go next and just say my answer. I had a couple of nominees, but I've settled on Antoine Fuqua and Denzel Washington.
Oh, yeah.
Training Day, classic. The Equalizer series, of course, is just so fun. Magnificent Seven. It goes on and on and on. I love when the two of them team up. I think they work really well together, but also even on their own, they're powerhouses. So it's more of like a super group when they come together,
right,
as opposed to just, they rely on each other to be great. No, they're both great. They come together to be an all-star team. Usually it's at least enjoyable.
All right. And for me, it's taking an actor that went from supporting character to main character energy to award winning energy. And that is,
I think I feel it coming.
Cillian Murphy and Christopher Nolan.
Yes.
And it's because you see how the relationship started with like the Dark Knight trilogy and Inception, to where obviously recognize the true talent of Cillian Murphy and making him the lead in Oppenheimer. And while Oppenheimer is obviously great, I just appreciate the performance that Cillian Murphy put on in there,
Yes,
more than the movie itself. Just shows that he is main character. He is the guy. He has killer acting chops, and I cannot wait to see him in more. And I'm sure there'll be more partnerships together between the two of them, but that's the one I'm going to go with out of all the ones you probably could have chosen, right?
Yeah, well, that's really interesting because what you saw there is one person trusting somebody who's had smaller roles to do the role of, not only Cillian Murphy's career, but also Christopher Nolan's career. He knew Oppenheimer was going to be what it was, and he chose him to do it because they trusted each other. This is the Untitled Film Project Podcast. We love to get your feedback. If you have an idea for the next big question that we could answer and have some fun with, send that along with what you think the answer is to this one, director and actor team up. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for joining us. See you right after the next time you see a movie.
Thank you for listening to the Untitled Film Project Podcast. To support the show, please rate, review, follow, and subscribe. Original music by Jeremy Schwartz. Special thanks to the Music City Film Critics Association. Editing and post-production by Jeremy K. Gover. Voiceover by Chad Bennett.